everybody. It is a little bit after 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. Y'all know what that means. It's time for another episode of Book Talk Live. Today, I'm actually joined by I call him a friend. I call him a brother. I call him a business partner. I call him so many things. But the world knows him as Deuce, simply Deuce. What's going on, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. How you doing this Sunday?
Oh man, I'm lovely. I'm lovely, man. Enjoying this Texas weather. It's not too hot. It's definitely not cool outside, but
No.
no rain, all sunshine.
Yes,
What's it like
sir.
out there in Austin?
Man, it is what it is, hot. Just to be honest, it's hot, but it's a beautiful day, and so it makes you appreciate it, especially with all the bad weather we had earlier in the year with the snowstorm, and then we had a lot of rain last month, as you know. So I appreciate the sunny days.
Hey, definitely sunny days. Everybody loves them. Tell me, can you stand the rain though? Right,
For
right.
sure.
Listen, man. So I could go on and on with an introduction for you, just because we've been around each other for close to 20 years. Known you since you were a radio DJ. Knew you before you were a radio DJ. Seeing each other around the city at different events. Walked through those. Walked the long road. And became a Mason. And
Mhm.
so seeing you through all this growth. I got so many stories for the world, but introduce yourself. Tell the world a little bit more about who you are.
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, thank you for the intro. We definitely have a legacy history with everything we've been through. But short story about me, Deuce Malone. I'm statistically, I'm probably not meant to be where I am, but I overcame those challenges. So I am a 20-year industry vet. Like Sugar Ray said, I worked at retail, from working in a CD store to being an aspiring artist myself as a solo artist and in a group. Went on to go into college radio when I was at Texas State University. From there, went on to commercial radio, working here in Austin for 6+ years as a music director. For those that don't know, that's someone that actually picks the music you hear on the radio. And I was also a personality. Moving from that into artist management, working at independent labels and alongside major labels. Um, and then from there, now I'm president of Whiz Up Entertainment with my partner, Troy Nuka, who's a Grammy Award-winning artist. And, music has been my life from the beginning, as you can tell. It just progressed each and every time I built my tool belt to be where I am now. And my goal is to give all those artists out there that knowledge to make their road easier. So that's me.
Absolutely, man. Listen, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Sharing what you shared. We're gonna get a little bit more in depth into your story, but one of the reasons that you're on today is because a lot of people think that books are just that. They're just books, but there's a major wave these days for those of us who are busier. We're not reading books anymore. They're
Mm.
actually now in audiobook form. So having that online audio content is huge. So we're gonna touch on a little bit of that. Um, one of the first things, we always play your commercial, your testimonial during Book Talk Live, and if I can, I want you to kind of expand a little bit into that commercial, a little bit into that testimonial, because most people see the host in front of them and think, well, he's just a guy that does this. But again, if you can, what's your experience been like working with us on the BOBM side?
Yeah, let's break that down. Let's unpack that, as therapists like to say. so so y'all heard my music story. The other side is like I'm an avid gamer, but I'm also a writer. I'm working on some sci-fi stuff with a partner of mine and a music book. And the thing is, you probably sitting there watching this right now, and you're thinking about writing your book, and you think it's just let me type some words out, let me write some things down, and then find a publisher, right? That's not everything that you need to be successful when it comes to the business of books, the Sugar Ray calls it, the business of books mastermind. Now, Suge broke all that down for me and made it easy. I didn't understand everything that goes into the marketing, the design, the editing, finding your target market for your book. Like, it's not just about writing. Writing is the easiest part of the book. Like Sugar Ray and the team, they break down everything else, and honestly, they do it for you. so you don't have to think about it. So I mean, you're really paying for his expertise and skills that he've accumulated through trial and error and putting out his own books and seeing authors progress to where now, and Suge, I know I'm gonna get it wrong, so correct me, but over 150 people have went to #1 Amazon bestseller. That says something. You don't see other people out there doing that. Yeah, how many is it?
184.
184. Like in a short amount of time, I've worked with Sugar Ray on the book aspect since April of 2020 when the pandemic happened, to finally try to even put my book in the pre-production, I'll say right now. And in that short amount of time, we've seen that many people go to #1 Amazon bestseller. There are people I know that are seasoned authors that don't have a #1 best-selling book. So that just tells you what his team can do for you. So if you're watching this ain't a commercial. This is real life. Like I'm not, he didn't pay me to say this. This is just for real and what I've seen with my own eyes. I wouldn't be an international bestseller without the business of books, and that's facts, And so all that is what you'll get with the program. And that's why I did the testimonial. I did it off the cuff. I didn't write a script down. It's just real. It's from the heart. So go to the website, businessofbooksmastermind.com. After y'all get done watching this, watch this first, and then sign up. You won't be disappointed.
Absolutely. Listen, man, and one of the things that most people don't know is that we, even though we're teaching the business of books, we have a community, and you've been part of that community for the past, I want to say, for the past year and close to a year and a half now. And a lot of people have become just like family, from coast to coast. Not only from Texas. We're both in Texas. I would still be in Austin if it wasn't for I recently got married, so moved back to my hometown of Houston. But there's people from California, there are people from New York, there are people from New Jersey, there are people from Florida, there are people from Atlanta, there are people from Colorado, there are people from all over that have become more like family than people that you interact with on a regular basis. And so I want to say last week, we do a call every Friday, and it's just a fun call, just a kickback. We grind hard, we play hard. And one of the members who was on last week, Dr. D, asked a question: Deuce, can I pick your brain on some of this audio, because she's getting ready to start her actual podcast. She's been doing a live show every Friday, and now she's turning it into a podcast, and you answered those questions, and there was passion that came from you. So I want to touch on some of that passion of how the music industry, the experience that you've gotten from the music industry, how we can transfer that to people that are on the audio side, that are ready, right? So as an author who is, let's say they're starting their podcast or they're doing live videos, what are some tips that you have for them on the audio side?
Yeah, first tip, let me just say this is the start. Wherever you are, your audience will meet you where you are and grow with you. So the first thing is to start. Whatever the podcast is you're thinking about, whatever tools you have, start there. But as far as some audio tips, I mean, everybody has a phone. I have an iPhone. So, everybody, shout out to everybody in the iPhone gang. Blue bubbles, where you at? So if you got an iPhone, it's great. But honestly, Android or whatever it is, those microphones on your phones work great. There's a group called Earn Your Leisure. They started their podcast. It's the #1 business podcast right now on pretty much wherever podcasts are streamed. And they started with 3 iPhones as their cameras and their audio. So that's the first thing, is just start getting your ideas out there. Now, when you want to step your audio game up, there are a lot of different microphone choices you have. Some are very expensive. Some of them on the less expensive side, but work fine. I think I mentioned on the call on Monday, the Yeti Snowball. It's probably one of the most inexpensive mics out there, but it will get the job done for you. Or you can go as expensive as like $400 microphones, like Shure. It's really up to you. Right now, I'm talking on the Blue Yeti, which is about $150 mic. They go on sale a lot. They come in different colors if that matters to you. But I like the audio quality. It sounds great, and you can take it with you and just plug it in via USB to whatever you're using, right? So find something you're comfortable with, that you like, that the sound is where you want it to be. The difference between having an external mic, your phone, is just the quality instantly increases. You get that full volume. It sounds more rich. And that's really changed. It doesn't sound like you're in just an open room. You know, it brings you closer to the person listening to what you're saying. So that's the key of why you want to have an external microphone. If you use AirPods, that's even better. They sound great. They sound fine when you're talking to someone via Skype, via Zoom, whatever it might be. So find some kind of external source for you. And then last but not least, I would say is make sure your background is always quiet. Like right now, I have nothing going in the background. My AC is not on. Fans are not on. Any equipment is turned off so you can get that humming noise. Like those are the tips I would give you. Find a mic with a windscreen, which is something that covers the microphone. Like you see this little styrofoam, not styrofoam, but fuzzy that goes on top of the mic. Get you something with that so you don't get the popping noise when you say things that have a P in them. They like kind of pop a little bit out, and just start. Experiment it, have fun, be yourself, and you will see your audio increase for your listeners.
That's what I'm talking about. Um, I love what you said. Start where you are, and your audience will grow with you. That's the very first thing, because I think that's the curse that a lot of people have, is that they are looking just like you said. The mic that you have right now is about $150 mic, and people will say, "Well, I don't have $150 to go get a mic, so I'm just not gonna start." And I've been right there with exactly where you are, starting with the basic, just doing it on your phone. A lot of the videos that I did in the very beginning were just on the phone. Um, so so you mentioned, I think, about three different mics: the Snowball, the Yeti, and then the $400 Assure mic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which mic? If somebody, let's take it from a very beginning, as you know what and why would somebody even want to have a good audio quality? Let's take it from the very beginning. I'm thinking about writing a book, and I have content. Why is it important to have audio content out there these days?
It's so important because most people are in transit. Like prior to the pandemic, everybody was go, go, go. It's a bit easier now because some people are home, but as we know, the country is opening back up. So you got people who are just on the go, or they don't want to just sit and read your content. I'm a great example. Like sometimes I do a lot of stuff around the house, or I might get on a Peloton and I'm riding, or I might go for a walk around my neighborhood to exercise or something, right? I don't have time to be reading a book, but I still want to get good content. So if you have audio, somebody can click on whatever you have and get the content that way. If you got a book, you can just press the button on the audio book and you can read it to me, or once again, back to iPhone. I don't know if Android has this. You can, I think it's swipe down on an iPhone and it will read whatever's on your screen for you. So having the ability to have audio just steps your game up and it gives you another place where people can grab your audio. I'll put it to you like this. If you only have physical books or it's the digital copy for someone, somebody might say, oh, they only got that. I'm not going to get it because I know I'm going to be in the car half my day or I'm doing whatever. They might not grab it. There are people like my father who they want to turn them pages. They want that. So they're going to be there. But folks that are younger like myself, if you got audio content, thank you. Especially if it's on YouTube or a streaming service, like I'll press the button and you can read to me all day long. I probably wouldn't have read the books I read over the pandemic if it wasn't for audio. I mean, I probably did about 4 books. I know it's light. Some of y'all read a lot, but they were all audio and got great information from all those. I'm talking about books from Kevin Hart to Leslie Odom Jr. to Grant Cardone to Gary Vee, all in the audio. So that's why it's so important to have audio for your content now. It just gives you another piece of reach for your audience.
Absolutely. And this is good content, because most people are still out here now. Now let me put a disclaimer out there. We are not telling you not to write your book, but what we are saying is that you want to have content for different audiences. The and not an older reader is going to want to have that book. My mom is just like your dad. If my mom is at home all day, she's retired, she would sit back, and Michelle Obama's book, when it came out, hey, can you give me that book? Of course. I'm went straight to Target, and I'm going by the book. She's turning those pages. By the end of the week, she was done with it. Whereas me, that same book, I'm not going to read the book. I'm going to listen to it because I'm either always on the go or always on the computer. While I'm working on something on the computer, I might be working on a website. I might be working on the next graphic. I might be working on formatting a book. My editor's working on something. While we're working on different things, we don't have time to sit back and turn those pages like we used to, when we were in college or in grade school. So
Mm-hmm.
that audio content is exceptional. So now, would you recommend for somebody that is starting to record their own audiobook, or what options would you provide?
It's a great question. So once again, I think it's kind of meet where you are. Depending on your budget, you might not be able to afford to have someone professionally voice your audio. So if you want to do it and you have the access to do it, cool. It takes a lot to produce an audio book because you have to think about it as producing a song. You have to edit things, and you want to run it through certain software to make sure you get out any background noise that may be there. There are additional steps. So for someone starting out, I would encourage them to, if they can, consult someone like myself, Business of Books Mastermind, to help with your audio needs, to get that done. Now, I do think it's very important when you have an author who wants to voice their audio book. I go back to Kevin Hart. He voiced his book. David Goggins voiced his, Charlemagne the God voiced his book. And when you hear it in the author's words, especially if there's someone like Barack Obama, he voiced his book as well. Like when you hear those people, you feel like they're reading to you and you get that extra connection. Like, oh man, that's Obama reading the book. Like, oh, this is crazy. So if you're the author and depending on what you're doing, I think that's great. But ultimately, do what's good for you. If you don't like your voice, or maybe your voice doesn't carry as well, or you're not happy with it, go get an audio professional, someone to voice your book and actually bring your book to life in the audio format.
Absolutely. And I think that what you're saying is amazing because, yeah, even as you're talking about those names that you mentioned, Barack Obama, David Goggins, um, Kevin Hart. One thing that people need to keep in mind though is that they already have that audience built in, and they also have access to those studios to
Mm-hmm.
go in and record those record it, because there's a huge difference between getting an audio book that somebody just went in their phone and was like, page one, and they're reading it just as it is, and somebody who has a professional presence that knows how to hit those pauses, that knows how to give you that extra exclamation when it's time. As a so I think that is dope. And as always, as Deuce said, um, Deuce is actually our audio engineer, 20 years experience in the world of music. And so, if you are looking for that audio book, definitely reach out so that we can get that done for you. Go ahead, Deuce.
Yeah, and I want to touch on something you said. It's very important because people don't really understand that as well. When it comes to someone who is familiar with dictating and how you present something, right? How you say something to an audience, that does matter because, like those people we mentioned, they're celebrities, they're public figures. They probably have a coach with them at times when they might be going through the audio process. You can't just I'm gonna read my book and just read it and just da 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 da, and you nonstop and it's just spouting things off. You have to pause for inflection. You might want something to hit a different way and use tone. Like, it is a skill when you're dictating something, when you're just speaking to the public, when you're voicing something on the radio, the cartoons that everyone watches. Like all that is someone living and breathing, becoming that character to bring something to life. So if you're an author listening to this and you want someone to bring your book to life in the way that you can't, that is when you want to seek out a professional like myself, or someone else out there to help you along the way. You can coach them and say, hey, I want this to hit this way, and they can do that for you when you might not be able to hit those points. That's why it's so important.
Absolutely. Listen, y'all, this is some great content. For those of y'all that are watching, that are tuning in, make sure you go ahead and hit that share button. Invite a friend, because we are sharing, not just we, Deuce is sharing a lot of information about the audio side of the business of books. And we want to get you the content that is going to help you take it to the next level. And once again, we'll be back shortly. Quick commercial. Be back in about 2 and 2.
Everybody has a story, and so do you. We know that you've been through life, been through heartaches, been through pain, been through depression. You've thought about writing your book for years, wanting to help change lives because of the things that you've overcome. We don't know what your story is, but we can help you turn your story into a living, breathing book that creates opportunities for you to impact lives and change the world. The business of books is here to teach you the opportunities that come from your book, how to write your book, how to brand yourself, how to market your book, and how to get in front of the right people to sell that book. We have an amazing team of designers, an amazing team of editors. We have a team behind you to help you get through your first book and get it to the world so that the world knows you are here. So remember, everybody has a story. It's time to write yours.
Hey, listen. So, for those of you who are just joining us, we are live today with none other than Mr. Deuce Malone himself. The and everything. If you're looking to follow him at the World of Deuce, and that's on all social media platforms. He has almost 20 years experience in the music industry. Went about it from the very beginning, from ground level, entry level, all the way to where he is now, a member of the academy. And I'll let him touch on just a few of those things. So we've been touching on some audio tips for people that are into or that are writers thinking about getting their content out and giving them an option for getting their content to a larger audience. But let's touch on your story, right? I think we're kind of doing this out of whack because we've been around each other so long that the conversation is just going to flow and it can go any direction. Um, but tell me a little bit more about how did you get into the music industry as an audio professional?
Yeah, like my path was definitely unconventional. So I'll give y'all a short version. So I fell into radio. I had dreams of being the next Jay-Z. That's what I wanted to do. So that didn't really work out. But shout out to my brothers, the Word Association. We were down in San Marcos at Texas State University. We had a group. We were doing good things. We put out about 4 mixtapes. We ended up having a residency at this place called the Triple Crown. I don't think it's there anymore thanks to gentrification. I think it's a condo now. But we had built up a little legacy here in Central Texas in San Marcos and Austin and toured around. But what happened was one of the members was on radio at school. We were all communications majors. At least me and Greg, Chief Doomsday, were. And he graduated a semester early and said, "Hey, do you want to take up my radio show?" And I was like, I guess it was something to do. So I did it. And I was the guy who just always had CDs first, always had the first albums, always was on MTV.com back then. And so that's how I fell into really the audio side of like hearing how things sounded. From there, shout out to Jennifer Jackson. She got me my first job in commercial radio in Austin because they needed somebody. And when Suge said starting from the ground up, literally I got hired to hand out stickers and t-shirts. It's hard to get into radio. Let me just say that if you're someone who's thinking it looks cool and you see like the Breakfast Club and the Hot 97 team, Ebro and them, like it's hard to get there. And honestly, the pay is not that great. You got to really love it and be ready to hustle and work hard. But I worked myself up from handing out t-shirts to the morning show. And then I got my own night show. And then I became the music director. And it was great. Like it was hard work. It was passion. And from there, it really had me doing a lot of different things within just the radio space. I started doing commercials for businesses locally voicing the commercials, producing the commercials, making sure it was EQ'd right, finding the right music for the background. If I wasn't going to voice it, finding the voice talent and then producing the commercial that way. So that really got me into the audio side of the house. From there, I work on festivals. So I work with the Urban Music Fest here in Austin. I voice those commercials, produce those, send those off for commercial radio play. I end up getting an agent and they started pitching me to voice nationally syndicated commercials and that kind of thing. So that really is what devolved to get into the audio space and to just become someone as an alternate revenue stream. I'm a big advocate for find as many revenue streams as you can to get to financial freedom, wherever those might be. If you have a talent, outsource your talent. And now I'm working with Sugar Ray in the Business of Books Mastermind. So that's kind of what got me into the music industry. It really was hustle, determination. And when you have a passion for something and you love it and you stay really dedicated to it, you'll find a way to be successful in it.
Man, listen, I love all of that because you're not only breaking it down, but most people think, oh, I got a great voice. I could be on radio. Or, I love music. I should be in radio. And you're breaking it down that there's more to it than just what people see. There's a lot more to it than what people see. So you touched on the ground level up. Was it easy?
No. It was a lot of long hours. Like I remember one day I did. So whenever you hear people out in the streets of the radio station, that's called a remote. So I remember one day I had a remote in the morning at like a gas station or something, handing out T-shirts and stickers. And by this point in time, I got a part-time shift. They'll give you a part-time shift to start you off if they think you can do the job. And luckily, I'd had some college experiences like, oh, we'll throw them on the weekend. So I did a remote in the morning, had to go back and do an air shift. And the air shift is typically 4 to 5 hours. So did my air shift for 4 hours. Then I had to run the board. And that's when, if there's some special programming going on, you're actually running just the volume and hitting the commercials. I did that at night. So that's a full day, so it's not easy. You got to navigate a lot of waters. And the thing is, and take this tip home for whatever you do, you got to outwork your competition. Like your competition might think, oh, I can do this and be off and done. You might have to work on the weekend. You might have to work after hours. You might take that shift when somebody called in sick and you right there raise your hand. That's how you get ahead in life, not just in radio, not just entertainment. It's going above and beyond so the people above can see, okay, I trust this individual. This individual's put in the sweat equity. I want to work with this individual. That's how you get ahead. It's really simple, but I know it's a lot of people that come to me and ask me to help them. They don't have that drive. And I think that's why some people stay where they are. So work hard, dedicate yourself to your craft, and you will advance.
Listen, I love that you touched on a few things for me when you say you got to outwork your competition, right? I just look at it differently. I know who my competition is, but you have to work so hard that they begin to know your name as well. And so I love it. I've been around a few individuals recently that were not ready to put in the work that they said they were. And I can definitely tell you, it is completely different, a different ball game.
Yeah.
So we're still on the surface of Deuce, right? Because I want people to know, it's coming. I want people to know, like what most people see in the public, especially if you're in Austin and you've been around, you know who Deuce is. You know the name. You know about the Urban Music Festival. You know about his years on the radio. You've seen him. You've heard him. Now, what most people see is the smile from Deuce. You know what? You need anything? I got you, brother. That guy. What is it like to be Deuce?
It's being a jack of all trades, and I'm gonna be honest, a master of none. Some people might argue with that, because I do a lot. So, within the music industry, I work with a lot of folks. I work with my partner, Troy Noka. He's a Grammy Award-winning artist, producer, born here in Austin. I'm a member of the Recording Academy as of this year. So for those that don't know, the Recording Academy is how the Grammys are chosen. So shout out to Saul, Paul, and Troy for giving me recommendations there. I mean, also I work on the music festival, the Urban Music Festival, coming back this fall. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Partner with Houston Tilson this year. We're out, I think, in year 16 of the festival. Outside of that, then writing a book. So my hat is in a lot of different rings right now when it comes to me. And then just still trying to be a good son, still trying to continue to learn. You know, it's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways I get pulled and try to find that balance, you know? So I think for me, it's a lot of busyness. And like I said, outworking a competition. A wise man once said to me, his name was Bob Lewis. He was one of my program directors. He said, look at your competition and then see what they could do to beat you. And that's what you should be doing. So that always stuck with me. And I was like, all right, if I see somebody else doing something and this is what I would want to do, like I need to do that before they do it. Because when you put something out there, when you think about something, if you don't do it, it's going to come to life and then you're going to be upset. And I've seen that happen. I've had ideas and never acted on them. And then a few years later, I saw somebody else do it and it took off. And I'm like, man, I had that idea before it happened. So that's me, man. It's a whirlwind. But I tell you what, it doesn't really feel like work. Like I'm in a lot of different things, but none of it feels like work because I genuinely enjoy it all. They all hit on things that are passionate for me. Music is the number one thing, but then storytelling is right there next to it. So they all feel great. And there's a part of me that I know I only have limited time here. So it's like I'm going to maximize the hours as best as I can and leave a legacy. As you know, the only way you really be immortal is to leave a legacy for people to follow. And that's what I want to be known for, whether it's my sci-fi book, or giving artists tips, or Troy becoming the biggest producer on this planet. Like I want to have a seed and part and know I was able to lend a hand in that space.
Absolutely. Listen, man, you do a lot. You do a whole lot, and you're still running from the question. You still, yeah. We know where this is going. Like one thing, and the reason I'm going here with you is because there's a lot of people out there that see, you know, come on, man, Deuce is doing the Urban Music Festival. Deuce does the music. Deuce does this. Deuce does that. And trust me, I'm gonna take that nugget that you just dropped from Bob Lewis about say if you see your competition, you see what your competition has the ability to do above you. But what I want to touch on is the life of Deuce. Over the past few years, one of the things that I know about you is that you have dealt with some life. And we're not gonna go into everything, but when I say this guy has dealt with some life, some things that would have taken most of us out. Not just to work, but he's continuing to grow, continuing to move forward. How do you deal with it? And if you want to touch on what I'm touching on, then you can. But how do you deal with life?
Yeah, I see what you go. We definitely can talk about it because I think it's important. So Sugar Ray is talking about the fact that like my life hasn't been the easiest road, and I think this is a good story. So yes, there was a lot of work I put in, a lot of hard work, but a lot of challenges did showcase themselves. So at the height of my radio career, and we talking about the height, like the station was number one. I think Jay-Z Blueprint 3 had just came out and he did a tour here in Austin, and Jay-Z hadn't been, I think, ever in Austin, maybe at that point. I can't remember. But everything was looking great. I just got engaged. It was awesome. Then the radio station flipped, and flip means it changed format. So I didn't have a job. So my job went away at the radio station. So I had to pivot from this was my life after I graduated college. Now I got to find a whole new career and work, and I got a fiance and all this. My fiance, we would end up splitting. We were together, I think, 8 years in total. Got married, got divorced. The marriage was horrible. I'm gonna save all that for another book. But it was tough. Went to spiral down into depression, gripping depression, contemplating suicide multiple times. All these things are happening. Working on the festival, not getting paid at the time, but just looking as an outlet for myself and to continue to build my resume with doing something, right? Just taking odd jobs, doing freelance work, for companies, but it wasn't a full-time salary. So really having to stay close to myself and God to stay alive, number one, and figure out how am I going to navigate myself back into making money. Got a day job, had another separate career there in the IT industry that has been very, very fruitful, which I can't thank God enough for. But all that, just having to persevere through those challenges and somehow stay positive. And we're talking, and this wasn't a short amount of time. We're talking about probably 5 years, which most people don't even know, because during that time they still saw the festival go off without a hitch. They still saw Troy Noka do some things on like Frank Ocean's album and some songs from Miguel, but never knew that because I never would really show it outwardly. Like, you still saw a smile on my face, but in the back, I probably thought about hurting myself that morning, like real talk, like multiple mornings during that time period. So really just trying to find some positivity, looking for what is the ray of sunshine, like what is my North Star to keep going. And that was God, number one, but also the music. It kept coming back to the music. And I think networking also played a part in this, because without my network, I definitely wouldn't have been where I was, because people show you who they are when you can't do anything for them. So when I lost my job at the radio station, phone did stop ringing. It definitely stopped ringing from the way it was. But those that stuck around, those label reps that still called me when they came to town, and even though they didn't have to, because I couldn't play their record on the radio, still would ask me like, hey, what do you think about this record for so-and-such artist? Coming to me when somebody on tour and saying, hey, so-and-so needs a club to go to. Can you connect us with a club owner to get paid? And I'm not even making any money on the deal. All that still happened, and I'm thankful for all those individuals because they didn't owe me a dime. I never asked for anything in the music industry, but I was always willing to give more and more. And this is something I learned before y'all heard Gary Vee say that, of like jab, jab, right hook, like give, then ask, or whatever later on. I've just always had that mentality is if you can do something for someone that's a good person, you just do it. And it gave me a bit of peace to know that I was still helping in some way. So you fast forward, like here we are in the pandemic now. And it's the same philosophy I have. Like, I'm in a way better place than I was before. But I still have that same mentality. We still got to grind. We still got to help out each other where we can, and don't take anything for granted. But the only thing is different is that I'll never go back to that place. That's the mentality I brought on. Like, I'm never going back to where I was at that low point I was in my life. Regardless of what happens, I'm not going to put myself in that position again. So I think it comes from learning. So if you're going through something right now and you're listening to this, like, you got to keep going forward is the key, because you don't know what's really going to happen on the other side. Am I married again? No, but that doesn't matter. I found some inner peace within myself. I have a purpose that keeps me moving forward every single day. And that's what you got to find. If music is your passion, put 100% into it. If writing books is your passion, put 100%. You have to keep moving forward and find a peace within yourself that makes you happy and makes you content with your life. So that's kind of my small testimony. I'm gonna say the intricate details for a book later on, but that's the piece that has really kept me going and got me to where I am now.
Yes, sir. Man, listen, and I salute you, because I remember those days of of phone just ringing off the hook, because you were on the radio, I was in the clubs, and it's funny how people don't realize that for you it was probably, hey, y'all got an event coming up, let me hit Deuce up. And then for me it was every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Like Monday through Wednesday, my phone would not ring. Come Thursday, the day before the club is getting ready to go, that's when the phone started ringing. So I've learned how to watch people from afar. Like when they think nothing is going on, that's the time that you need to really watch how they're treating not just you, but how they're treating the people around you, because that says a lot about them. And I go ahead.
No, I was just you finish. I got something after you. Go ahead, you finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and just the fact that, like you said, you are always willing to give. That's one thing I've known about you, like from day one. It's always been, you need anything, you good, and I salute that in you, because it's a difference in. There's a huge difference in givers and takers. Givers are always willing to connect you with somebody that can help you, or give when you need. Whereas takers, on the other hand, it's like, can I, can I, can I? And so I salute you for always being a giver, even in the midst of everything that was going on in your life during that time. That speaks volume about your character.
Yeah, thank you. And you're so spot on with the how things go during the week, because like I'll break down how busy the schedule was, and to kind of give y'all an even deeper shift of what happened with me not being at the radio. You gotta think I was on the air Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to midnight, roughly. I say roughly because you had club nights. So let's break it this way. Monday through Friday, I was on the radio. 7 o'clock was my show. But being a music director, you there during the day too, because I got music meetings. I'm talking to record label people about new songs, having meetings, right? So I'm there probably from roughly 2 o'clock till I'm done. Because if I had a club night, then I would leave the radio at about 9:30 to get to the club by 10. Then I'm in the club till 10 till 2 on the mic the whole time, talking to people. Just, people just coming up saying hello because the radio is broadcasting live right now. That was my schedule Monday through Friday. Then Saturday I had a club night, so then I would do the club on Saturday 10 till 2 as well. So Sunday, back in those days, you still partying because you have friends at the DJ. So it's a nonstop party 7 days a week almost, and you always are kind of on. So it's like you always are Deuce, because not Deuce, quote unquote, 100% of the time, but in the public side, you're always Deuce. But you go from being on this kind of character all the time to then boom, nothing. That also hits your ego a little bit too, I'm be honest with you. Like, because you go from being like always in the spotlight to no spotlight. You got to figure it out. So you're trying to navigate not only your professional life, but then you have this kind of what has built you up a little bit to where that's taken a diminish too. So it's a lot of things that happened and added that depression as well during that time. So you can't be disillusioned when you got all the lights and cameras on you. But what I will say this is enjoy it. If you got it, enjoy it, learn from it, because you can take a lot of lessons, like Sugar Ray just said, like who is really paying attention to you, how people are treating you, and you'll learn a lot about yourself and people from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, this is definitely content rich. I'm enjoying this. But as always, we got to get a word in from our sponsor. And for those of y'all out there, of course, the sponsor is the Business of Books Mastermind. So we'll be right back in about 2 and 2.
When people hear that term, it's like entrepreneur. Most people say, I want to become an author, but they don't understand the business behind it. Now we're diving into the business behind it as well.
There's people that are fighting right now. Your message is liberating those who are fighting it and going through hell. So it's important to know where your target market is, and you always want to continue to add value. You feel like your book is going to do that? Did you hope so? Okay, there we go. Confidence.
And we're not writing books. We're creating legacies. So get ready. Get your Aladdin cape and your Aladdin flying rug, because you're in a whole new world.
Hey, and we are back. I want to say for the last few minutes. So if you've been with us, we are live with Deuce Malone. Follow him, everything at The World of Deuce, website www.TheWorldOfDeuce.com. We've been talking about audio. We've been talking about his 20 years in the music industry, and we've been talking about life just in general. So a lot of great information. Before we shift to that last transition, I want to talk about your recent induction into the academy, because like I said, most people don't know the behind the scenes. So let's touch on that real quick. How did you get there? What was it like, and what's the feeling now that you are actually part of the academy?
It's an amazing feeling. I didn't really expect it to happen. And let me also just say, it's not too hard to become a member of the academy if you are a true musician. So for any musician listening, I just want to let y'all know, like, you can always apply. They take nominations once a year. I want to say the date is March 5th, but if you go to the website, Grammy.com, they got all the information up there. But for me, it was something I always wanted to do and never really understood how to get there. So like I mentioned earlier, Troy Noak, my partner, he's a Grammy Award winning producer. And then I know like Saul Paul, who's a member of the Grammy Committee. Paul Wall, that's a bunch of Pauls there. Sorry, Paul Wall is also a member of the Recording Academy, and also T Double. So I saw a lot of people I knew personally that were members, just never really inquired about the whole registration process. So going through that earlier this year, I basically had to send them everything I've done. You know, like because they want to know, like, who are these individuals? Are you legit 100% a person that's working in the music industry in some form or fashion? They have two methods of entry. You can be a professional member or a voting member, and it all depends on what you've done as an artist. So when I got the note back saying I was accepted in the academy, it felt great knowing that now it's another avenue for me to have a hand with helping artists, because we have like Music Cares, which helps increase awareness and education for artists. You know, we have the Latin Grammys. There's just so many different things. It's not just handing out Grammy Awards is what people think the Academy is. There's a whole lot of networking, a whole lot of outreach to help artists and support artists' rights. And I'm all about that because the arts is so important. Like, music is what's kept me going all these years. It's been the one constant in my life, and music is a universal language. Like, I don't care if it's country to orchestra to hip hop to soul. Like, everybody has a song that everybody can relate to, and a group of people can unite around that, and it changes your entire mood. So anything I can do to help artists, I want to be a part of. So the feeling I got was amazing when that email came on that Monday about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, man, and again, congrats, man, because this is there's a lot of artists out there. There's a lot of people that are doing something similar. But the fact that you went all the way to the academy to help new new artists, that speaks volumes. Again, that's the same reason that we even have this book talk live, is because we're looking to help those authors that are coming behind. Just like you are passionate about music, I'm passionate about the books, and we both are growing in this space of helping others, right? So let's transition one more time and touch on. I just want you to share a few more tips about the audio quality and the importance of it. I know we touched on it a little bit earlier, but let's go back to it really quick. So I'll preface it by saying this: as an author, there's at least 20 different income streams that can come from your one book. A lot of those income streams have to do with the content that you have online. Now, the content that you have online that I'm talking about can be, you can create podcasts based on the content in your book. If you are talking about it, if you're sharing information specific to a subject, then having content that goes more in depth, ongoing, is something that's a natural flow for you, right? Having not just a podcast, but maybe having an audio book is also important. Dropping videos, the videos that you drop are important, because whether you realize it or not, all that is doing is bringing exposure, marketing, and helping your brand to grow. So the audio that you have is going to be extremely important. And I think most of us have had that experience where we've, before the closed captioning, we were sitting there and we were trying to watch a video and the audio was horrible, right? And so if the audio is horrible, you've already lost half your audience right there, just on audio alone. So what are some audio tips? And I said all that to preface this. What are some audio tips that you have for authors that are out there and that are looking to increase their content?
Yeah, for everybody trying to get their content to the next level, I'm gonna tell you right here, here's a non-negotiable: buy an external microphone. So like I said, budget for whatever it is. I suggest this one right here. the Shure, excuse me, not this is the Yeti, the blue microphone. You can get it from Amazon. I say get this one. It's $150 some odd dollars. Save money, add it to your expense as a writer because you need to expand to the audio and just keep it moving. It's a great universal mic. So that's my first tip. Invest in some sort of quality mic that you can use consistently. You can take it with you. And so you can just have it on the go to record your podcast, your audio, whatever it might be. That's the first thing. Also, just remembering to just have fun with it. Don't judge yourself too critically on how you sound. I'll be honest, I hate the way I sound, but people although said you got a voice for radio. Okay, great. So have fun with your voice. Just get out there. You will get better as you continue to do it more and more often. Listen to yourself, see how you phrase words, see where you can maybe make it sound more professional with your pacing, your timing, and your tone, etc. So that's my second tip. The third thing is to always just remember that your audience will meet you where you are. So just start. So just get started putting your audio out there to the masses. Once you do that on a consistent basis, you'll get more comfortable. Your stream or your podcast will get better, and you will start to see your audience grow. And in the end, you'll make more money from it.
Yeah, absolutely. These are good tips. What are you mentioned a few microphones. What would be your top 5 microphones when it comes to external mics?
The number one microphone is going to be the Shure SM7B. I think I said that right. They make a bunch of different microphones, but it's they call the Michael Jackson mic. It's what he recorded Thriller with. I have 2 of those. That's like the top mic because it's versatile. Number 2, man, I can't think of the name of it right now. I can see it in front of my head, but we use it in radio. I can't think of the name. I think it's Shure as well. I'm gonna put it in the comments so somebody watching the replay can get it. But number 3 for me is gonna be this blue Yeti. Like this mic, because of the versatility and the price point. Like you can get a lot out of this mic for the price point. Number 4 is gonna be honestly the blue Snowball because of the price and what you get, and also how small it is. Like it's literally a ball. So you can just really throw it in the bag. It's not going to take up that much space. And it kind of has a built-in windscreen around it to block out the wind. Last but not least, and this is once again for versatility as well, is Apple AirPods. Just because everybody got AirPods, they fit in your pocket and they will work on the go. If you got to do something in a pinch, you just had an idea and you want to get it done and get it out there, that's probably going to be my 5. Like just because it's your good, better, best. And they're all great mics for where we are in the world right now. It doesn't take a lot. Like all the equipment you can buy doesn't really matter these days because people want content on demand. They want it now. So just having the ability to record is what matters the most. You'd be surprised. Like audio quality does matter, but where people are, it matters. Doesn't say if it sounds halfway good, you're already winning. Like when it sounds really bad, that's a problem. But if you can halfway get there, you can make it happen. And Gary Vee is a perfect example. You look at some of his early stuff. I mean, he was talking just into the phone. Like it wasn't no lighting. It was just him. His daily, I think it's called a daily V. His daily vlogs. They weren't super produced. It was like, here, get the content out here. Let's go.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. Because, and I got 4 of the 5. You said the Shure SM7B, the Blue Yeti, the Blue Snowball, Apple AirPods, and what was the 5th one?
Man, I'm gonna find that other one. I can't think of it. It's you see it everywhere. If you watch Colin Cowherd, The Herd on ESPN, he uses it. It's a popular mic. T-Pain uses it on his podcast. I cannot think of the name to save my life. I'd have to Google it. It's a skinny microphone. It comes in silver and black. Man, I cannot think of the name of that microphone. I'm gonna put it in the chat when we get off. I'm gonna Google it because I know I'll find it right then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And listen, what you said is so crucial because a lot of people look at, like you said, the Gary V's, the ETs, the top in their field, and look at where they are right now, but don't realize that everybody had to start somewhere. And if you start, one of the things that I've learned is if you start too high, and you'll see it. People that start at a certain level and they can't maintain that level because they don't know how they got to a certain level, then all of a sudden it's like this major slump. Because if you start with your phone, and just record videos, simple videos that you can record it just like this. No earphones or anything like that. Um, that at least lets your audience know you're coming. So there's going to be people in your audience that aren't ready for you, and there's going to be people that will, like as Deuce keeps saying, that'll grow with you. And those are the ones that you want, are the people that'll grow with you, because the ones that are willing to grow with you are the ones who will be the most forgiving if you have an audio faux pas, you have an audio issue. They're like, oh man, I remember when you first started, you came a long way, but look at where you are now. You don't have to go to the very top if that's not where you are. And it's not about the amount of money. It's about the amount of, would you say it's about the level of microphone, or what are the other factors that are going to help people?
As far as like the quality sound put. Sorry, I want to make sure I
The
got there.
the quality, part of it is the quality, but also when you're growing your audience, what is another factor that's going to be outside of the audio quality?
The content. I mean, the content you're providing is the other piece. Those two coupled together. By the way, that bike is an Electro Voice RE20. I googled it while you were talking, so it's the Electro Voice RE20. But the content you're providing and just making sure you have the outline. I think some people will turn a microphone on and just start talking. So you really want to arrange your content. That's what's going to really help you grow. And you also have to make sure you're really tailoring it to your audience. You know, whoever your audience is, make sure you're giving them something they could take home with. You know, so it's really organizing your thoughts before you turn that microphone on. You pair that with some quality audio, you're gonna have a good consistent stream. Like I think Dr. D does a great job. You know, her stream is very professional. She's got great overlays. Her voice sounds good. I know she wanted to step up her game with a microphone. I'm like, man, she's gonna really be next level because she already has really great content. You know, so you put those two things together, you'll do really well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the last thing, if I can just add one last tip, is consistency. Consistency, because the content has to be quality. It's not about what you want to hear yourself say. It's about what your audience needs from you. And again, that quality, as Deuce gave y'all at least 5 mics that you can Nas said all I need is one mic. Deuce said here 5 of the top mics that you can go with from lowest to highest. And so this is some amazing content. I definitely think that people need more of it when it comes down to these audio tips. One of the last questions that I'll have, and I'll put you on the spot really quick, is about those audio books. Because when it comes down to what we're doing with the business of books, and it's BOBMpublishing.com. If you're watching, check the overlay. The website is there, and it's there for a reason. Every week we want to bring you great content, but we also want to make sure that you have resources, just because we know what it's like to be at that beginning level and looking for someone who does graphics, someone who does video, someone who does the editing, someone who does the formatting, all of that. And Deuce is actually our audio engineer when it comes down to doing these audio books. So tell us in a few words, why should people come to you when it comes to their audio book, as opposed to trying to do it themselves?
Number one is the time I've spent doing it. So just my career path. You got someone who has consistently done audio. It's not someone doing it brand new. I have experience doing this field. So my experience level. The second thing is you're gonna get a quality voice. You know, it's someone whose voice is the instrument that I can change depending on your needs. So you got the versatility in voice. And third is that professional level. You know, a lot of people say they do things, but they really don't have that professional touch. You know, it's hit or miss on what you're gonna get with the quality of what you requested. So those are why you want to come to us. The experience, the versatility, and the experience you're going to have with actually working with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know that a few people have chosen to try to do it themselves, and we're yet to see those products out.
Mhm.
So one of the things I definitely want to say, salute on everything that you're doing, and we're proud to have you as part of the team as the audio engineer that's working with us. We got a project coming soon. Can't really talk about it yet, but I know when everybody hears it and everybody sees it, it's going to be a game changer, right? One last thing for everybody that's watching, and please, if you're watching, switch over to the main video if you're in a watch party or something like that, because if you're in a watch party, I'm not honoring any comments that are not in the main video for the next 30 seconds. The first person that actually comments cash has a $25 Cash App giveaway coming their way, and it has to be on the main screen. So, Deuce, go ahead and close us out. What's one last thing that you'd like the audience to know? And it can be about audio, it can be about anything.
Man, one last thing, find your inner peace. That's what I think I'm gonna leave you all with, because that's so important these days. Whatever it is, like whatever you want to do in your life, whether it be finding the right audio for your book or finding audio for your podcast or coming to us for help with your book, find that thing that's going to make you peaceful at the end of the day. That's going to make you happy and feel accomplished. I think the world is lacking that right now. Everybody is uptight. Everybody's dealing with issues. That's what we all need. Just find that inner peace and we'll all be all right with each other.
Absolutely. Find your peace, and by all means, and I say this daily, protect your peace.
Yeah.
Protect your peace. If anybody is causing you any type of frustration, it's okay to cut off somebody that is not meant to be in your circle, and
Mm-hmm.
don't look back. All right. So with that being said, listen, it has been a pleasure, Deuce, as always, man, talking with you. Just sharing this information for everybody that's watching. We definitely love y'all. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see you guys next week.